Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to Somato Enlightenment. And today's episode of Somato Navigation is all about grief and stuckness. So, those places that you feel like are never going to change, that kind of stuckness. So, in talking about a little bit about what organs hold these different things, a little bit of a review on what we talked about earlier this week. Again, your lungs, they hold the grief and the sadness. Something that I notice on people a lot, there's a lung one on both sides, right underneath your clavicle. It holds a lot of grief and stuckness in the grief that way. So I noticed that come up on a lot of people. And another one that people get a lot of stuckness in is their large intestine. So the large intestine is all about that dogmatic position. Things are never going to change. It's always going to be this way, and this is what I believe. And these are the things that people have told you over the years that you have listened to for whatever reason. It can be something like as little as, someone said, oh, you can't sing. And but really, like, you actually have a nice voice, and just because you're not some famous singer doesn't mean that you still don't have a lovely voice. But you kind of like internalize that and now make that your belief is I can't sing. So those kind of things that kind of get stuck in your body that aren't really true, but you keep holding on to them because you feel like they are true. And so I just kind of want to talk about that and address that just a little bit, and remember that you can always change your beliefs. You don't exactly have to always, especially if someone else is telling you something, you don't always have to believe them. Like for me, for instance, like you can watch my videos and take what you believe in and disregard the rest. You're not going to hurt my feelings. This is just stuff that I've noticed through my years of working with bodies and movement and things like that. Working in Western medicine as an athletic trainer, working in a doctor's office, and working as in physical therapy and things like that, and with sports teams and whatever picnics and stuff that corporate people have, like those kind of things. So like what I've noticed over the years in just watching people move and watching interactions and things like that, along with my education. And so again, like I'm big on do your own research if you want, and then kind of pick what seems to be the best that fits you, and understand that it's not going to necessarily be right for the next person. So just kind of wanted to put a little reminder in there for that your beliefs are not my beliefs. We might have similar beliefs, and or we might have very drastic differences in our beliefs, and that's all okay. So going back to the stuckness in your lower intestines, your large intestine specifically, and kind of how those things, so like one of the physical things would be constipation, actually. So like if you're having trouble during all of this with being a little constipated, there's obviously a nutritional component and things like that, but then there's also this emotional component that is about being stuck in a position that you don't necessarily want to be in. So movement can help loosen up the fascia, help you let go of being feeling like so stuck in one position. So again, I am going to just kind of take a moment to feel in my body where I feel some stuckness. Kind of noticing it a little bit in my forearm. This is on my left side, so it's about relationships and love and money. And I'm noticing that as I kind of rotate my hand open, that it seems to create some tension between right around my thumb area all the way over here. at kind of like a diagonal way. I'm also noticing that I'm feeling some tension right through here on this back side, and just noticing, just kind of noticing how tight it feels right now as I move. And so now I'm going to kind of let it do whatever it needs to do. Your hands are, again, they're how you work generally. So there's that components in it. When I'm thinking about what might be stuck in my arm, that is not quite what I'm wanting. I am noticing that the tension just kind of moved up here a little bit more into my elbow. And I'm noticing as I rotate back that specifically like my first and my index finger and my middle finger are kind of getting a little bit more taut than the rest of them. I am noticing that while I don't feel so much tension in my ring finger, it also seems to be the most forwards in a forward stuck position versus like coming back with the rest of my fingers. So I don't know if you can tell that or not, but and then I'm just kind of feeling where my hand wants to go. Again, it wants to kind of, my biceps now involved. This kind of reminds me of being a server many years ago. And it's interesting because this is exactly how I would hold my tray. So this could has something to do with like my relationship with money as I was being a server. It could have something to do with your hand kind of being in this position, kind of also says stop. So it might be, as like I'm slowly letting my hand go down, I might actually be telling my body might be saying stop, like this isn't good for me, that kind of thing. And just noticing as my hand kind of keeps moving through these different movements. Again, with all these intuitive movement videos, I'm not like there's no set pattern. I'm not going through, it's not like at yoga where you go through different poses. I'm literally letting my hand do whatever it wants to do and just noticing what it's doing and trying to make cognitive correlations with different things. So again, I'm still in this position where I'm kind of saying stop, and I feel very active now, kind of in the front here, kind of like I'm guarding. So maybe it's, I needed to protect myself more, I needed to protect my heart more, I needed to protect my lungs more. So that grief and stuff like that might be playing in. Maybe there's some sort of stuck idea that, you know, things are never going to change, and that, you know, I was always going to be a server, that kind of thing. But I mean, this is, you know, something that happened like, you know, 10 years ago probably. And just kind of noticing again how my arm wants to move, and it keeps coming. It's come back to this position now twice. So maybe there's something more about trying to protect something in front of me. It could have been from different other injuries. Could have been from something else. I used to play rugby, so lots of injuries with that. Lots of you know, pushing people away and you know, falling and stuff like that. And so now I'm back to kind of where I started at, almost. And so I'm just going to kind of relax and see where my hand is. Again, feeling back into where do I feel stuck. And what I'm noticing is it's very active through these two fingers, so my middle and my index finger, and then I can feel that all the way down to where it attaches in my elbow. So I feel like there's still some more work to do with that, so I'm going to kind of let my hand kind of just go into different positions. You know, this is kind of, you know, that find position, so maybe it has something to do with that. Again, just trying to make correlations in my head of what I might be releasing, what might be stuck there. I can't do the pulse points right now because obviously I'm letting this hand do whatever it wants. So it is a little trickier when you're working on your upper body stuff to add in the pulse points. But I can add in some other techniques as well if I want. I could add in, I might think about in my body, again, kind of going back to my forearm and elbow, wrist area, and think about the stuckness, and then also think about where exactly am I looking for. And I get this picture in my head of there's a little structure in here where there's a couple of ligaments where they kind of meet, and then also you've got your forearm muscles that kind of come in here and attach, and it's underneath the forearm muscles, closer to that where that ligament is right there, connecting my radius and my ulna, my radius and my humerus. So this outside bone here and my upper arm bone. And so if I just put, if I go back to maybe just putting, so I feel like it's right there. So if I put my hand there to kind of give it some support and also let my body know that this is the area that I really want to target, and just kind of noticing how that changes my arm movement now. So I feel like it moved it right back into some of the stuff I was just doing, and also kind of changing it just slightly to where like I feel like this is really important. And I also noticing that like I need to like really straighten my arms, so I'm really activating my tricep muscle, this one back here, to really extend that forearm a little bit. And I'm just noticing as again I release my wrist a little bit, so it's back in that back position. My fingers are still together. They haven't really wanted to release yet, and I'm just noticing as I come around this way, I felt a little click in my wrist, and that seems to have opened up something here. So now I'm going to kind of feel what the difference is between both sides again, and notice if there's any differences from before. And I am kind of noticing that like right through here, like this area is a little bit tender to my touch. I'm noticing that whole muscle is a little bit more spasmed than some of the other muscles are. And if I'm going back to my wrist, what am I feeling? My index and middle finger feel a little bit looser. Now my thumb, particularly right here in that thenar eminence, it feels a little bit more tense and active. So I might work on my thumb specifically later, like maybe I might just kind of do something like this to kind of help release that. I might push against something as I move through like this. That feels particularly helpful. It doesn't feel like I'm putting a whole lot of pressure, and I'm just kind of letting my hand kind of like that fascia kind of gets stuck as I'm just kind of moving it over and around. So kind of a little bit of a massage technique in there, but not really putting a whole lot of pressure, because that's not really the goal. The goal is to have that fascia more release a little bit more on your body's terms versus like just like, making your muscles submit and let go. I think that'll be it for today's video, and I thank you for joining me again, and I will see you again tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about grief and stuckness, and maybe add in the pulse points again, and talk about chakras. So I hope that you join me, and again, you can check me out on Somato Enlightenment on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and I'll check you out later. Bye!